see this new generation, I'm praying that we just all manage to coexist, man. Everything's good. We're all doing our own thing and have our own lanes. Everything's lovely.
Whether you love or hate Drake, this interview is the start of a roller coaster ride. And I believe the lawsuit against UMG for Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us is synonymous, is parallel to this interview right here.
The more, let's see, notoriety that you get, it's gonna be a nigga. And he's gonna send a shot.
I'm so far ahead of my time, I got people 5 years from now pressing rewind. I'm hardly impressed with y'all. I hate rappers. Where the true artists at? If it ain't a good picture you draw, don't bring it to the architect.
It depends on if it's good.
The Drake that was in this interview wanted no smoke. He wanted nothing but friendship. There was a lack of understanding of beef. And ironically, of all the people that could have been interviewing Drake in this moment, Joe Budden, one of Drake's ops, is encouraging Drake to embrace the competitiveness in hip hop.
Joe Budden TV, and look who it is.
And in this moment, Drake didn't want to do that. And I think that is very similar to the actions of a lawsuit, not understanding that there's gloves off in a battle rap.
I understand the thirst of being first that made them both swing, protecting legacies. So lines got crossed, perhaps regrettably. My friends went to war, I walked away with all they blood on me.
But this is very different from the Drake that was in 2015, at the top of the game, most importantly, involved in the beef with a very popular rapper from Philly, Meek Mill.
Trigger fingers, turn the trigger fingers. Yeah, you getting bodied by a singing nigga. I'm not the type of nigga that the type of niggas. Shout out all my boss, bitches like a nigga.
Drake was invincible in that moment. So throughout this video, you're going to see different versions of Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole, because no matter what you say, all three are legends. This video is going to highlight the highs and the lows of all three, how the differences and how they grew up made them who they are today, for better or for worse. But let's talk about 2013 first.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Took a little trip down to the garden. Took a little dip, how much you falling from my lips? Took a little sip, bitches coming, you know that.
2013 was the top of the mountain for Kendrick Cole and Drake together, right? When you look at these videos from this year, you see something similar to Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron James here. It's three people at the top of their game, competitive-wise, who have respect for each other. We all thought one day, the way Steph Curry, LeBron, and KD sat down in the Olympics, they were able to talk about their careers. We figured Kendrick Cole and Drake would be able to do that one day.
I was so competitive early on that, like, even though we were all friends, I'm trying to destroy this nigga, you know what I mean? Like, I've been trying to, you know, absolutely make an effort, like, as time goes on, to, like, strip the competition from it. Like, y'all niggas are cemented forever. I'm at that point where it's like, I'm more interested in the genuine relationship than before I was interested in the competition.
But what happened in 2013 would never allow that to take place. 2013, J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar take the stage at Dollar in a Dream. And J. Cole is celebrating his album, Born Sinner. A hit record was on that album, Power Trip. J. Cole felt on top of the world.
When I say high, you say power. High, high. When I say born, you say sinner. Born.
Kendrick Lamar was coming off the success of Good Kid, Mad City, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, hit record, Poetic Justice, hit record, Swimming Pools, hit record, Money Trees, Mad City, they were already catching steam on the internet.
Money Trees is the perfect place for shade, that's just how.
And this was a brilliant time to be a hip hop fan. And you could see Kendrick and J. Cole look up at the crowd.
This is a motherfucking moment right here, y'all. Y'all better remember this shit forever. Do y'all believe in new legends?
It's beautiful to see. And then you look at a moment here where Drake and J. Cole, they're at Best Buy and they're purchasing J. Cole's Born Sinner.
Damn. They probably got more than that, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. And when they get to the register, the woman says,
Well, they bought more than Kanye. I'm not even gonna lie.
oh, more people purchase your album than Kanye. And that is kind of a torch passing, right? Kanye, Lil Wayne, Eminem, Jay-Z, they were at the height of their careers during this time. But J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick, they started to take shape as the leaders of the new school. And then last but not least, Drake and Kendrick Lamar. From Poetic Justice.
But I could never right my wrongs unless I write it down for real.
But I can never right my wrongs unless I write them down for real.
And this moment right here where Drake is in the studio getting ready for Nothing Was the Same's album release. And he has a record for Kendrick to be on. And everybody in the studio, they're bobbing their head to the beat and they keep fantasizing about what Kendrick Lamar can do on this record.
For him, where he's at, that's like, I know he's gonna murder that shit. I know he is.
When he told me Kendrick, it just made so much sense. Oh.
The respect they all had for each other was immense. Now, this is where you get a difference in character, and I said this interview was going to be important. This right here.
Oh, no. Somebody is
I'm not going to diss me, and you'll never hear a reply from me.
Kendrick Lamar's Control. Kendrick name drops everybody from the Block era of hip-hop. A$AP Rocky, Mac Miller, Big Sean, J. Cole, and many more. Drake did not take a liking to that verse. And that is the beginning of the end.
I almost wish he had come in there on that shit because I kind of lost like a little respect for the sentiment of the verse. If it's really fuck everybody, then it needs to be fuck everybody. It just can't be halfway for the sake of the people.
Everything that happened from 2013 to 2015 would change the direction of Kendrick, Cole, and Drake's careers. Drake had a lot of Drake the type of guy jokes going around where people were labeling Drake soft. But this interview right here.
See this new generation? I'm praying that we just all manage to coexist, man.
It does represent Drake as a very nice guy. He seems like just a chill guy that belongs in no confrontation whatsoever. Like, protect him at all costs is what you may be thinking. Again, this version of Drake no longer exists. And then you have Kendrick Lamar. During this time, Kendrick Lamar's in Compton. He's rap battling in the Nickersons.
I remember seeing Kendrick freestyle in the Nickerson Gardens. You know what I mean? The projects early.
Thinking they hot because they homie said they was a few times. Which is too many times I lying to you. They telling a lie. The only time I lie in the booth is when I sleep in it.
And when you look at this video, notice a young Dave Free. That's one thing I want to make sure we highlight. Dave Free was always right next to Kendrick Lamar, even in those earlier days. And Dave Free is Kendrick's creative director and so much more to the hip hop culture. But you see Kendrick Lamar rap battling, earning his respect in a different way. And Drake's call to action was probably to get famous and get respect. Kendrick Lamar's call to action is very similar to Tupac. Of course, there's a little bit of Gemini craziness in it, but the sentiment remains the same. And Kendrick and Tupac, they are like this in terms of a hip-hop fan's dream of someone surpassing Pac. Watch this edit right here. Oh my God, I am a genius for this edit.
Can you tell us the story of seeing Dr. Dre and Tupac filming the California Love video?
And Tupac right there, and I think it was a white Bentley. Yep, they were shooting a video, and
I feel like if you can't respect yourself, then you can't respect your race, then you can't respect another's race.
My sentiments, exactly. Pac was wild, man.
Oh, so y'all ain't gonna let nobody disrespect the West Coast, huh? Oh, y'all ain't gonna let nobody mock and imitate our legends, huh?
Like and subscribe for that edit. Now, J. Cole's call to action is a little similar to Kendrick's, but I would say there's an emphasis on the word humble. I think Kendrick Lamar always wanted the crown. He said it in Euphoria. Cole and Aubrey know I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy, huh? And I think J. Cole from the very beginning stressed being humble. I think this one interview J. Cole did on the streets when he wasn't famous was the one interview that set the tone for the rest of his career.
Being humble, like try to stay that way as long as you possibly can, because like you might not even be the best nigga in the world, you might not be that good, but your personality, if you humble, down to earth, but still, you know, not saying you just quiet and shy, but if you just, like, if you know you ill, but yet you humble with it, it's gonna get you far.
It's all about being humble and staying out the way and letting your work speak for you. And that's how J. Cole was able to cultivate his own audience that's very different from any other audience in hip hop. And this interview where Kevin Hart, one of the biggest celebrities, is speaking on J. Cole is very synonymous with this interview that J. Cole did back in the day.
His success just isn't highlighted because he doesn't highlight it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. People talk for him. Mm-hmm. His numbers speak for himself. People don't even realize J. Cole did a world tour in arenas.
If you more quiet about it and just like, yeah, you know, I'm all right, listen, and then blow their minds, it's like the reaction is so much greater. So I would just say stay humble, no matter if it's just getting on or even when you get on or even when you're a superstar, try to stay as humble as possible. Let the people talk for you, let your music talk for you.
The fact that J. Cole was able to remain on that path and stay who he is a beautiful thing. Now, I will say even J. Cole lost himself at one point. And we'll talk about how all three of these artists have lost themselves in 2013. And something happened between 2013 and 2015 with all three of these artists that changed them forever. But we'll get into that later. Hang on. J. Cole became very relatable for the simple fact that he represented the common man or common woman chasing an education and trying to do something to benefit themselves in the long run.
St. John's University is going up. Listen, going up.
He inspired me. He inspired a lot of college kids, which is why he was always going to have a huge audience for that very reason. He was in the Dave Chappelle block party.
Because I was in Dave Chappelle block party too.
People in the audience can MC. God damn. This puppet had me fooled.
He was living the New York City life. He was in Queens. And he was creating these mixtapes, the Come Up, the Warm Up, Friday Night Lights. During the time the Warm Up came out, he was pushing records like Lights Please. Oh, there goes Kendrick Lamar in the background.
J. Cole, did you tell Dr. Dre about Kendrick?
J. Cole eventually gets on Rock Nation with Jay-Z. And Jay-Z, ironically, was begging Drake to help J. Cole out. He was like, yo, Drake, help a brother out.
Once I signed to Jay and this nigga was like, nah, you're not putting the album out till you got some hits.
See, during this time when J. Cole was on that grind trying to find a hit record, Drake was already there. Drake had it a little bit different than Kendrick and Cole. He was from Degrassi. Drake was already a name in Hollywood.
I was gonna wait till tomorrow. I think you might need this now. Happy anniversary. Man, you're looking at him. Degrassi Panthers, Jimmy Brooks is on the prowl.
To me, Drake's biggest obstacle was getting the respect from hip hop fans and the culture because one, he was biracial.
And just being biracial, but still being Jewish. So I was like kind of connected to the kids, but like sort of distant.
And number two, Degrassi. People thought, how can you come from this TV sitcom and prove to us that you some hard rapper?
You can judge me if you want. That's cool. Like sooner or later though, it's going to be inevitable that your girlfriend's going to be playing it, your mom's going to want to listen to it.
The funniest thing in the world is that during this time, Drake had a table full of all of his hip hop inspirations. And on that table, you see Kanye West, and you see Pharrell.
Particularly Pharrell, he's like one of my idols.
So wanna take off for Pharrell, then come get his legacy out of my house.
On top of the Degrassi background, Drake also was signed to Young Money Cash Money. So he had the Lil Wayne co-sign. And in 2008, Lil Wayne was on top of the music industry. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing the Carter 3. We were such big fans of Lil Wayne that you had to be a fan of Drake, Nicki Minaj, and everybody else who was coming out of Young Money at the time. Now, with that being said, Drake was definitely the most talented, and Best I Ever Had kept things rolling some more, got him all the radio exposure, and just like that, in 2010, he was easily one of the top 3 biggest hip-hop artists in the industry.
She ain't back for it, so she give it up, and I say the same thing every single time. I say, you the fucking best, you the fucking best.
To me, even though J. Cole had the Jay-Z cosign, you can get the vibe that Jay-Z wasn't going to help J. Cole until he had some motion. It's like, until you go out and get a hit on your own, don't ask me for shit.
Don't call me. Don't come by my house.
And Friday Night Lights, this right here, was an incredible work of art. Like, this would easily be a top 3 J. Cole album, but they had to put it out as a mixtape because the label thought, there's no hit record on this project. Even In the Morning with Drake wasn't considered a hit record. For Kendrick, he came up a very underground way with Black Hippie, 3 of his good friends coming together as a rap collective. Kendrick was a hype man for J-Rock.
Carried out straight out of Compton, top dog King-T, / Def Jam. Getting it in 07 and 3000. That's my slogan.
So what you working on right now?
Working on the album, working on the mixtape, working on my man project, J-Rock. Right now, man, I'm pressing up this Kendrick Lamar mixtape. It's not a mixtape, it's actually EP. 11 song original, all originals. Just basically trying to get my story out there first and going with the name change or whatnot.
And he really had to find his audience.
Cause ignorance is bliss. 8 doobies to the face. Fuck that.
Section 80, this project right here, absolutely amazing. Po Man's Dreams is my favorite song off this album. But like I said, during this time from 2011 to 2013, Drake was already at the top. When this album came out, Take Care, Drake was out of here. Despite the emo jokes, despite the Drake is so soft jokes, Take Care was labeled a phenomenal album. Now it's labeled a classic, but this time was different.
No, I know you don't love me, baby. What do I do there?
Okay, I know you don't love me, baby.
Over My Dead Body, Look What You've Done. J. Cole put out the Cole World Sideline Story project. He had some hit records of his own. And then Kendrick Lamar would go on to put out Good Kid, Mad City. And Kendrick had hit record after hit record. And one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. They were labeling this album an instant classic when it came out. So in 2013, all 3 of these artists, even though you could give Drake the edge in the popularity contest, they were all capable of putting up big numbers with hit records and critically acclaimed albums, which is a great thing. And this is the closest we get to the lovey-dovey stage of the big 3, until Control dropped.
Trying to murder you niggas, trying to make sure your core fans never heard of you niggas.
This is my hot take. When Control dropped, I believe this changed Drake's career, Cole's career, and Kendrick's career. I'll explain why. During this time, Kendrick Lamar was walking around like Tupac Shakur.
Hey, have a good summer. Have a good summer, B.I.
That's a big homie. Everybody else gotta try harder though.
Taking shots at people during his BET hip-hop cypher.
Yeah, and nothing been the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sense of the rapper back in his pajama clothes.
But Kendrick Lamar was dealing with something, and we'll learn this in this album here, To Pimp a Butterfly. Kendrick Lamar was dealing with the evils of Lucifer, and everything that comes with fame. Kendrick was very depressed. So in 2014, if you really think about it, all 3 of these artists went quiet in 2014, and we do not talk enough about that. There was no Kendrick album, no Kendrick singles. We did not hear from Kendrick. The first time we see Kendrick is on Saturday Night Live, and he looked completely different.
Oh, man. Hey, homie, I told you straight up a confidence.
He was tapping into something artistically and spiritually that I would have never predicted after Good Kid, Mad City. J. Cole. Same thing. Even though he put out 2014 Forest Hills Drive, that wasn't until the end of 2014. For most of the year, J. Cole was pretty quiet. He was growing out his hair a little bit. And then eventually, The next time we see J. Cole, he drops a surprise album, no features, and it's this right here where he talks about dealing with fame and how fame was no good to J. Cole, to the point where he wanted to go back home to North Carolina, spend some time with his mom, and value the things that matter most in life, which is not fame, which is not money, which is not trying to be the king of hip hop. It's being with your loved ones.
I've gotten to this point in my career and realized that, yeah, I got a lot more dreams and I want to go further. I don't want it if it's at the expense of my happiness. This shit ain't real.
It's like I'm probably one of the few people that really lives this rap life. Like I really live this rap life for real. I'm really out here partying. You see the house. Up at the baby show. It. Yeah. I'm out. I'm in the streets.
During this time, To Pimp a Butterfly and 2014 Forest Hills Drive, this is around the time where Trayvon Martin, where a lot of police brutality was the topic of discussion. And J. Cole, he went on a late night show and he performs this record right here, Be Free.
Maybe he had good intentions but was stifled by the system and was sad to learn he actually couldn't bring any. All we want to do is be free. All we want to do is be free.
Where he bears his all on stage. Kendrick Lamar was doing different late night shows and he was making a statement with every single one.
What the black man say? Tell him we don't die. Tell him we don't die. Tell him we don't die. We multiply.
Eventually, The Blacker the Berry comes out, and then this whole album right here was taking a stance, right? Talking about fame, but also saying, hey, I'm not with this fame shit. I'm going back to my hometown. I'm trying to restore my community.
Trying to restore my community.
I'm also going to Africa to learn about Nelson Mandela. I'm going to Africa to learn about my roots, and I want to uplift the black community. The difference is during this time, J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, they were changing so much. To me, J. Cole was changing in terms of his mindset. Kendrick Lamar changed in terms of his mindset and his music. I don't think J. Cole changed all that much with his music. I think it was just his mindset and the topics. Whereas Kendrick Lamar, he was obviously incorporating jazz, funk, blues, spoken word, everything under the sun into his music. But Drake, let's be very clear. In 2015, Drake looked like the most invincible rapper on earth. In the sense that If You're Reading This Is Too Late is one of the most braggadocious projects ever, right? And you hear Drake over trap drums. And he follows up this project right here where he's just popping his shit. He follows it up with the Meek Mill beef. And with the Meek Mill beef, he's going against a rapper with a lot of street cred.
Summer nights can even turn cold. In the streets of Philly when niggas don't even get to turn old. My heart pumping to a turn gold.
Gangsta Philly rapper. And the fact that Drake went head to toe with Meek Mill, puts out back-to-back, and completely destroys Meek Mill's reputation. And more importantly, he won the court of public opinion, not only with mainstream fans, but also with the streets. This, to me, made Drake invincible. A different beast. It made him feel like he could do whatever, say whatever, with no consequences whatsoever because he's going to win in every facet of the game. And to then follow that up with What a Time to Be Alive, with Future, who is one of the biggest rappers coming out of Atlanta, and then you put out Views, which had global success records like One Dance, Hotline Bling, Controller. It put Drake in a different stratosphere.
I need a one dance.
But this era brings me to this interview right here. I want you to listen closely to what Drake says.
Lifestyle. To those guys' credit, and a lot of, like, some of the inspiration I've taken from them for the last 6 months is just like, you know, they come, they do what they need to do, and they go back to their real life. You know, they go back to their beautiful families.
He has accountability over the fact that as he's aged in his career, he did not make any changes internally, right? To be a family man, to be someone outside of The Famous Life of Drake. Whereas Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, they made a huge distinction between being a music artist and being a famous celebrity. You could tell that both Kendrick and J. Cole kind of hate the idea of being a celebrity. Whereas Drake, during this time, it kind of came across like he loved the shit. During this time, I think J. Cole stayed the course, because even after 2014 Forest Hills Drive, J. Cole put out For Your Eyes Only, which is the same thing. It's a very theme-heavy album, concept-heavy album. There's no huge record on it in terms of commercial appeal, but it's just a great quality album.
Your daddy was a real nigga cause he loved you. For Your Eyes Only.
And this song right here is one of the greatest storytelling records of all time. And then KOD, same thing. The message of the album, especially at a time where the XXL freshman cypher group of rappers who were very different, very eccentric.
Hey, tell that little bitch I got money. Hey, tell that little bitch it is nothing. Hey, hit that bitch right from the back, she got turkey. I knock out that bitch like it's stuffing.
Okay. Now, Drake, even when he was at the height of his career, to me, albums like To Pimp a Butterfly made Kendrick Lamar an even bigger superstar. It made Kendrick Lamar get talked about in conversations in jazz, rock, blues, different genres. The music junkies, the casual music listener that's listening to pop music, they're going to talk about Drake till the day ends. But those music fans who listen to the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, listen to Kamasi Washington, these music junkies, they became obsessed with Kendrick Lamar during To Pimp a Butterfly. And then for Kendrick to follow it up with Damn, which is an album that was very commercially successful, with Humble, DNA, Love, Loyalty, Element, just huge record after huge record.
Sit down. Sipping from a Grammy, walking in the building. I wanna be with you.
Then he had Goosebumps with Travis Scott. He had Bad Blood with Taylor Swift. Then the Black Panther album, where you have All the Stars and Pray For Me with The Weeknd. There were so many huge songs that Kendrick Lamar was a part of. To me, something in Drake had to be slightly bothered at the fact that Kendrick Lamar was both commercial and conscious. Kendrick even taunts, I believe, Drake on the song Mask Off, the remix, where he says, how y'all let a nigga go commercial while only making conscious albums? And I think there's something to be said that maybe Drake underestimated how powerful Kendrick Lamar was in mainstream hip hop. Now, the thing with Drake, though, and this is all leading up to something bigger, a lot of people mention the Pusha T beef. I don't think people understand what I mean by the court of public opinion. The reason why Drake is suing UMG is in part A, because he wants more money, but B, because he lost the court of public opinion and he's crashing out.
He can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it. He won't.
Because he never thought he would lose that. Pusha T did not do enough to threaten that aspect of Drake's career. I'll explain. The real hip hop fans, the music junkies, when this beef happened, we all said Pusha T won. Drake does not care about that. One thing you can learn right now, Drake fans do not care about Kendrick Lamar and his conscious albums like To Pimp a Butterfly and Mr. Morale. They don't care. It doesn't bother them. The thing with the Pusha T beef is the story of Adidon. That record was huge. It was a knockout punch. Drake got a kid. What? Huh? But guess what? He was still able to put out huge records that overshadowed that Pusha T record. God's Plan.
I like it when you loving on me. I don't wanna die for them to miss me. Yes, I see the things that they wishing on me.
Nice for What? In My Feelings. Those were the 3 hit records from Scorpion. Those records were huge. Although the story of Adidon was punishing, it wasn't a hit record. It wasn't a bop. And we'll get into that when we talk about Meet the Grams. No one's complaining. Drake is not complaining about Meet the Grams. And Kendrick Lamar said on Meet the Grams, your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think niggas like him should die. The average music fan is not replaying Meet the Grams. I am. but the average music fan is not. But the average music fan, oh yeah, they're replaying Not Like Us. Everybody. So the Pusha T beat to me didn't really wound Drake like that. So to me, Drake is still invincible. And he follows the path of album, Certified Lover Boy, hit record, then go grab 21 Savage, let's do a collab album. Her Loss comes out. He follows the same recipe for success. Let me go grab Lil Yachty. Boom, boom, boom. Let me put out this album. And to me, it works. It works like a charm. Even when you call some of his albums trash, like Honestly Nevermind, there's always a hit record at the end of it that can let Drake prosper. But that takes me to the later stages of the Big Three's career, right? And this is the most interesting thing about Like That. Like That's going to go down in history for so many reasons. Because at one point, you can make an argument that maybe Drake wasn't the hottest rapper out. It was J. Cole. Because remember what I said, from 2014 to about 2019, J. Cole was in a pocket where he was making concept-heavy albums with very strong messages. But J. Cole started to do a feature run where he started to collab with everyone from the old generation to the new generation. This run that J. Cole went on was special. And even though Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, this album right here is classic. Classic to me. I love this album. The tour was one of the biggest tours in the world. But it goes back into the theme of To Pimp a Butterfly, where he's not trying to reach commercial success. He's trying to create thought-provoking music, right? And I'll do a video on this later on, how Kendrick Lamar goes from conscious album to mainstream album. And he goes back and forth. Conscious, mainstream. Mainstream was Good Kid, Mad City. Conscious was To Pimp a Butterfly. Mainstream was Damn. Conscious was Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper. Mainstream is GNX. He does that a lot. But this is the first time where J. Cole was like, yo, I'm hopping on every big record. 21 Savage, a lot, I'm on it.
How many faking they streams, getting they plays from machines?
Lil Durk's All My Life, I'm on it. You know, and then he would hop on Johnny P's Caddy or Boblo Boat by Royce da 5'9". Like, he was really hopping and covering his bases with every fan base in hip hop. And that to me made J. Cole at one point the biggest rapper in the world. I could say that.
I'm probably gonna go to hell if Jesus asks for a feature.
And I think what happened to J. Cole was he was getting a little bit of Drake's medicine, where he was talking about it on record. I will kill your favorite rapper. I'm the biggest MC in the world. Anybody that tries to fuck with my stance in hip hop, you get indebted.
We the big three like we started a league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali.
First person shooter was J. Cole and Drake popping their shit. Popping their shit. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar is talking about mental health and therapy, and he's just sitting back. But see, Kendrick Lamar is a Gemini, and there's a part of Kendrick where he is competitive. And I can tell Kendrick Lamar will look at J. Cole and Drake on stage talking about they're the best MCs in the game, feeling like, nah, I need to call their bluff.
Fuck you. Fuck the plane you flew in on. Fuck them shoes.
And then that's where Like That comes from. To me, that's where Like That comes from. Now, Like That comes out, and this is where we get into the beef. And this is where things change. After Like That comes out, and I believe J. Cole's like, oh yeah, we gonna do a nice friendly sparring match. Kendrick's like, hell yeah, we're gonna do a nice friendly sparring match. Drake is like, well, why would he do that? Why would he say fuck us for? And that's when we get into the nitty gritty.
See, this new generation, I'm praying that we just all manage to coexist, man. Everything's good. We're all doing our own thing and have our own lanes. Everything's lovely.
The more, notoriety that you get, it's gonna be a nigga.
Yeah.
And he's gonna send a shot.
Motherfuck the big three. Nigga, it's just big me, nigga.
J. Cole puts out 7-Minute Drill, discrediting Kendrick's work, saying that it puts people to sleep.
Your second shit put niggas to sleep, but they gassed it.
And then last but not least, the short jokes.
Your arms might be too short to box with the god.
In combination with J. Cole eventually not meaning anything he was saying on the record.
Extend it more and more.
Oh, Carmelo's going to take a shot.
Smart decision, Mello.
And then J. Cole apologizing on stage and bigging up Kendrick Lamar.
Moving incorrectly. And I pray that God align me back up on my purpose and on my path. You know what I mean? I pray that my nigga really didn't feel no way. And if he did, my nigga, I got my chin out. Take your best shot. I'm going to take that shit on the chin, boy. Do what you do.
I think it goes to show you that J. Cole is someone who's always going to follow his own intuition.
Some people say that I'm running third. They threw the bronze at me. Behind Drake and Dot, yeah, them niggas is superstars to me.
You can appreciate his coming back to earth. I believe Drake is already calling people on the phone for hours. Yo, I'm going to cook this guy. I'm going to destroy Kendrick's career. Fuck it.
Is the rapper in you going to say, you know what? Fuck it.
Drake starts making phone calls to Compton. How much money can I give Hitta? How much money can I give this individual to spill the beans on Kendrick Lamar?
It was fun until you start to put money in the streets. They lost money because they came back with no receipts.
I want to know about Kendrick. What's the dirt on Kendrick? There has to be something. He can't be perfect. What's the dirt?
I'm sorry that I live a boring life. I love peace.
Kendrick Lamar hears about this. Yo, I got a call from somebody in OVO. They were like, yo, we'll give you $100,000. What you know about Kendrick? Yo, we'll give you this amount of money if you could tell me something about his family. And Kendrick's like, yo, this could have jeopardized my family. This could have burdened the ones that loved me. If somebody gave you this information, now they might get hurt. So then I believe there was a conversation between Kendrick's camp and J. Cole's camp that said, hey, yo, this is going to get ugly. 7-minute drill. There's an understanding. Look, apologize. I won't even diss you. I won't diss you. Notice Kendrick Lamar has not dissed J. Cole. We don't talk enough about that. During the apology, J. Cole said, my chin is out.
My nigga, I got my chin out. Take your best shot. I'm going to take that shit on the chin, boy. Do what you do.
Take your best hit. Kendrick Lamar never responded to 7-minute drill. Never. The closest thing we got to it was, I see two goats kissing and hugging on stage. I love them to death. And in 8 bars, I'll explain that phrase. And to be honest, I think that part of Euphoria was already written before Kendrick Lamar got the phone call that Drake was putting money in the streets to dig up dirt on Kendrick. Because when you listen to Euphoria, Euphoria comes across as a warning shot. Push-ups comes across as a warning shot. The warning shot is, we're going to bring families into this.
It's the bigger love of the family.
And this is what I'll stand on. I don't think Kendrick wanted to bring families into it for one reason and one reason only. Kendrick Lamar does not like fame. Kendrick Lamar comes across as somebody who likes a very private life, a private and quiet life. I think he would prefer his son, daughter, and fiance to stay out of our mouths.
I be with some bodyguards like Whitney.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
So this was supposed to be a friendly sparring match. He heard that money was in the street. So now he's like, oh shit, so he's probably going to say something about my family. What can he say? Well, now you bring up this album right here, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick's most personal album to date. On this album, Kendrick Lamar details there's troubles with his relationship with Whitney. Drake took this album and said, you know what? I'm going to create my own narrative based on this album. Kendrick Lamar saying that he's having trouble with Whitney on Mr. Morale. Okay, I'm going to say that one of his kids is not his, and I'm going to say that he beats his girl up. Right? I believe that Kendrick Lamar knew Drake was going to do that. He got word, hey, yo, just a heads up, this is coming your way. Good luck. So in Euphoria, the song's called Euphoria, and it's a simple shot at the fact that Drake is the executive producer of the show Euphoria. That's already a shot. Then he says, fabricating stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale.
I can predict your angle. Fabricate stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale.
A pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the tails on you now. Like, he already knows that Drake is up to this shit. So he says,
I make music that electrify 'em. You make music that pacify 'em. I could double down on that line, but spray this time. Random acts of kindness.
I make music to electrify them. You make music that pacify them. I could double down on that line. That was the warning shot right there. If you go here with it, I'm going to talk about you liking young girls.
Talk about them liking young girls. That's a gift for me.
When Drake says on push-ups, I'll be with some bodyguards like Whitney, that was him testing the waters of, I'm going to say your girl's name. Letting Kendrick know, hey, I'm capable of saying the name Whitney. Even though he's talking about Whitney Houston, who was in the movie The Bodyguard, that was him saying, Whitney, that's your fiance's name. I won't elaborate. That was a warning shot. When on Taylor Made Freestyle, he says, talk about him liking young girls for me. That was, I know your angle. And then on Euphoria, when Kendrick Lamar says, fabricating stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale, to me, that's the equivalent of talk about him liking young girls for me. That's, hey, I know your angle is going to be something about my family based on the fact that you heard Mr. Morale. So you see the parallels in what Kendrick and Drake did on these 3 records right here. "616 in LA represents Kendrick in so many ways because this record right here is strictly strategy, right? Everything from Drake taunting Kendrick with Jack Antonoff and Taylor Swift, and then Kendrick Lamar getting on a record produced by Jack Antonoff. Everything from Kendrick Lamar talking with God, right? And you could tell Kendrick is at one with himself. That's what I get from 616 in LA. He's like, God, I have to go to war.
Why does it always have to end up like this? 'Cause you's a bitch.
And you could tell Kendrick really studied his opponent, right? He was ready for it all. I know everything about this man. I know his character traits. I know his demons. I know what he's running away from. I know his addictions. I know his mom's and father's addictions as well and what that passed on to the son. I know it all. I know what he did to Lil Wayne. I know what he did to Cole. I know the music that he latched onto from a cultural standpoint just to get brownie points.
We been them niggas that lead the way. You know what I'm saying? We been doing the new slang. We been taking words around the whole globe. Like rappers been getting that from niggas like us.
Right. And last but not least, even the Not Like Us music video, where does it start? At a courthouse, right? I'm pretty sure Kendrick Lamar foreshadowed all of this the moment he was writing 616 in LA. Now, keep in mind what I said earlier in the video. Drake underestimated Kendrick's ability to have mainstream hit records. He underestimated that. All right? I'll say it over and over again. So when Drake comes out with Family Matters, his nuke, his red button, right? Remember, during this time, Drake was egging Kendrick to drop just so he can get this record out. This was his championship game. Remember, he had a vacation plan. The moment Family Matters released, Drake was like, okay, I'm going on vacation. Drake drops Family Matters. Catchy tune, catchy flow, interesting beat. He talks about a lot of different artists, but the parts where he talks about Kendrick, he drops some heavy information. One of them little kids is Dave Freeze. Speculate about that. Hey, Kendrick Lamar hired a crisis management team to cover up the fact that he was beating on his girl. Let's talk about that. And remember, when Family Matters came out, he told all the streamers, all the content creators, stay on stream. Stay on stream. React to the new song. He thought this was going to be the talk of the town. And that's when Kendrick Lamar did the greatest, most strategic move in hip-hop history. He drops Meet the Grams. The interesting thing with Meet the Grams, it was meant to just step over Family Matters. I believe, and this is karma. This is karma. When you get all of these streamers to try to be on your side, right? Yo, stay on stream. Something's about to happen. Everybody be alert.
I was like, it's about to go down.
When you do that and you put out the record, to me, I can care less how you feel from that point on about Not Like Us. But we'll get into that in a second. Meet the Grams comes out and it steals your thunder. It backfires. Because now all those people that are on stream, Kai Cenat, RDC World, Zias, all them people that's on stream, they have to sit there and be like, holy shit. And they have to look at their community. They have to look at their chat being like, yo, Kendrick just dropped. Kendrick just dropped. Kendrick just dropped.
What Kendrick say? Kendrick dropped immediately? No fucking way. No fucking way.
Welcome back to This
When DJ Academics was realizing in real time that Kendrick Lamar just dropped a new song, bro, we all know where we were, bro. I get a text message from my boy. He's like, yo, Drake just dropped a nuke. He's a Drake fan on the low. So I'm like, all right, let me listen to this. And mind you, when I listened to it, I was shocked too. My jaw was on the floor. I'm like, Kendrick is my favorite artist of all time. So I don't trust what Drake has to say. However, I thought it was a little catchy. And I'm not going to lie. For a moment, I was like, damn, does Drake know something that we don't know about Kendrick? For a second, I was shook. And then out of nowhere, boom, my phone starts blowing up again. Kendrick dropped. I'm like, what? Ain't no way. Somebody, oh shit. And then you listen to Meet the Grams. And Meet the Grams is, to me, similar to the Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharpe at the beginning of the year.
It's God's side and the other side.
Where Cat Williams was sharing everything about what was going on, all the secrets of Hollywood. That's how it felt. The beat, the tone, Kendrick addressing every member of his family. But when you get to the part where your son's a sick man with sick thoughts, I think niggas like him should die, you start to look at Drake differently. And you're like, holy shit. But the smartest thing that Kendrick Lamar did in Meet the Grams was the last verse, right? Obviously saying, hey, yo, he got a daughter. He got a daughter. It takes the pull away from Dave Free being the father of one of them kids. You're not even thinking about that anymore. And then the last verse where he says, why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in. That line and the other line that no one talks about. You lied about the only artist that can offer you some help. Fuck a rap battle. This a long life battle with yourself.
When it comes to trying to check Drake, it was good riddance, body, and it was over.
So yo,
there was no rebuttal. There was no.
It ended right there.
It was good. Like, don't try and check me, man.
Why believe you? To me, he's telling his audience, so yo, I know y'all not believing this guy. He's never given us anything to believe in. Why are you even believing this? And to me, Family Matters just like that is wiped. I never listen to Family Matters the same after Meet the Grams. It's the fact that Not Like Us came out right after. Not Like Us coming out right after and it being a hit record. And that's why I don't give a damn about this lawsuit. Not Like Us, when it came out, was already viral. It was already through the moon. People were dancing, throwing up all types of gang signs.
Mustard on the beat, ho.
It was different, bro. I believe Zia's damn near tackled B. Lou on the ground.
You tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor.
Like, this was the biggest moment of the year. People hearing Not Like Us, hearing DJ Mustard for the first time in a minute. I don't care what UMG did. UMG did what they were supposed to do. If you're complaining about UMG pushing Not Like Us, ask yourself, why didn't UMG push Meet the Grams? Meet the Grams to me was the lower blow. That was Kendrick Lamar going to hell. Why didn't they push Meet the Grams? Because Meet the Grams does not have pop appeal. Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar could have said his ABCs on that record. That shit would have bumped regardless. So when they hear Not Like Us and they see all these streamers and influencers and people dancing along to it, their job is to push the record. That's their job, you idiot.
I own you, big head, I own you. Even when you're dead, I own you. Forget what he said, I own you.
I don't even get it, bro. Not Like Us is officially the greatest diss track of all time. But all in all, what this beef did in conclusion, to me, it set everybody back to where they were at the beginning. Remember what I said about J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake. Remember what I said about all three. For Drake, this lawsuit is the equivalent of this.
Mr. Man, you're looking at him. The Grassy Panthers, Jimmy Brooks is on the prowl.
And now this lawsuit is aligned with that. For Kendrick Lamar, we talked about the Nickersons, the rap battling, being from Compton. Everything Kendrick has done this year, 2024 and 2025, is aligned with exactly that.
So far ahead of my time, I got people 5 years from now pressing rewind. I'm hardly impressed with y'all. I hate rappers. Where the true artists at? If it ain't a good picture you draw, don't bring it to the architect.
And then last but not least, J. Cole. All about being humble, letting the work speak for itself. J. Cole is out the way.
And humble, like try to stay that way as long as you possibly can. Because like, you might not even be the best nigga in the world. You might not be that good, but your personality, if you humble, down to earth, but still, you know, not saying you just quiet and shy, but if you just, like, if you know you ill, but yet you humble with it, it's gonna get you far.
J. Cole understands, yo, all I need is my fan base. Y'all can have everything else. With that being said, no matter where you rank these three, they're all very special. They all have a huge place in hip hop. And I have to say, these three have given us some of the greatest entertainment you can ask for. So this is something I'm going to show my kids. I don't have kids yet, but when I do have kids and they get a certain age, I'm going to play them this video right here so they can know that we witnessed three of the biggest acts in hip hop history and the greatest rap beef of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be more videos coming real soon. Subscribe to the channel. And as always with my channel, we end off with a hug. Bring it in.
Some people say that I'm running third. They threw the bronze at me. Behind Drake and Dot, yeah, them niggas is superstars to me. Maybe deep down, I'm afraid of my luminosity. So when you see me on red carpets, I'm moving awkwardly.